On Thursday, California's Attorney General announced the state had reached a $93 million settlement with Google to resolve a lawsuit that accused the search engine of deceptive business practices related to location tracking. What do consumers need to know, and what privacy settings should you consider adjusting ahead of the upcoming holiday season? Here to break it all down for us is CNET Senior Editor Nick Wolny. Thanks so much for being with us, as always. Always good to see you.
Thanks for having me, yeah.
So what happened with this lawsuit, and why was it specific to California?
California decided to specifically sue Google. There was a separate lawsuit related to this same issue that 40 different states came together on, and that was settled last year. That was a $391 million settlement. So Google's paying out a lot of money. All of the lawsuits allege that Google was deceiving consumers and mishandling data regarding location tracking. Specifically, if you were opting out of location tracking, the lawsuit alleged that Google was still tracking your location and still using that data for the purposes of targeted ads. Targeted ads are how Google makes the majority of its money. If you've ever had that moment where, whether you're scrolling on social media or anything like that, and you're like, oh my God, is my device listening to me?
Yes.
It's so specific. It's actually quite good for the advertiser to be able to get that relevant of an ad in front of someone. But for consumers, I think what's happening is people are more concerned about their data privacy. They want to understand a little bit better how this device in their hand, what data is it actually collecting? Not only when you tell it to, but also what data is it collecting without you even realizing it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think this has a lot of people thinking, okay, I really need to shore up my security practices on my devices. And this is a very good time to do that, right?
Yeah, well, we're ahead of the holiday season. What we know about holidays is that people are just going to be shopping more. There's a lot more commerce. Unfortunately, there's also kind of a rise in scams as well. So it's a good time to sort of shore up that data privacy. Even what we were talking about earlier in the hour with, I think it was over $70 billion of impulse purchases on social media. You know what I mean? A lot of that comes from just that targeting, being able to be really specific. And I think also ahead of an election cycle, a lot of people are starting to think about data privacy. They're thinking about which apps have their data. This is something that's come up a lot, specifically with TikTok, actually, and why there's so much litigation against TikTok is this is the first time you've got a really massive tech player that is consumer facing that is Chinese owned. TikTok's parent company ByteDance is Chinese owned. They've got loads and loads of data on what we like to look at and why. And so going into another election cycle, there is some concern that that could lead to some specific ads or things like that that might be trying to influence election outcomes.
Absolutely. And so what are some of the best things we can do to protect our privacy on our devices? So
it's great on your smartphone in particular. You're going to have a specific privacy settings section in all of the different operating systems, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Android. You're going to be able to go into settings, and that's gotten quite better in the last few years in terms of having a specific dashboard to see, okay, what is my phone actually tracking? You can also, with specific apps, you can ask the app not to track, and you can do that specifically for some apps and not others. And then a pro tip that I like to share with consumers is that in addition to your smartphone, you also have other smart devices in your home, right? You've got your TV, you've got your computer, and so think about it, if your TV is smart, if your TV is connected to the internet, it's probably tracking what you're watching and how much, for me it's, oh God, I did watch 7 episodes of SVU reruns last week. Oh God, I'm going to be targeted on this, And so just something else to keep in mind regarding that with those different smart devices. Nearly all smart devices in their settings are going to have a section for privacy. And so just to familiarize yourself with that ahead of the holiday season, it's going to help get you set up for success.
That is a really great reminder, I think, because a lot of us just think that we have to be careful on our phones, but it is elsewhere.
Right, the phone's the biggest culprit, but many people have a lot more smart devices than even just a few years ago. It's gotten a lot cheaper, so keep that in mind as well.
Nick, this is so interesting, so helpful. You're wonderful. We're really happy to have you here as always, so thank you so much. And you can find out more information about CNET by going to kcalnews.com and clicking Seen on TV.